And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to a disappointing edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Michigan. I'm your host, Chad Schwarzkopf. Your Indiana Hoosiers yesterday afternoon fall to the Michigan Wolverines, 73-57. In a game, let's all be honest, we didn't expect to get. Going into it, the probability of us winning was probably fairly low. Some of us actually might have felt a little bit better that we could have won just because of how this team has done this year with the ups and downs and deciding to suddenly play amazing against high competition. So again, not the unexpected outcome. A few things that didn't go the way we expected, though, in the game. I'd be remiss if I don't shift gears here and start the show as well, though, with how it needs to start after this game, and that's with a huge thank you to Aljamain Durham. A wonderful player for 4 years, a player that has always been committed to the team, has been one that from the beginning, and I have a video to prove it, that I took that floored me. There was a game his freshman year, and when the cameras like to go inside the huddles or watch the coach, over the shoulders coach as he does a timeout, Al Durham was sitting in the huddle. I've never seen a player more engaged during a timeout. He was sitting there, and I'm sorry those listening on podcasts and everything, I'm going to do something visual here for the YouTube people, but he was looking at coach, and his eyes were the widest I've ever seen, just staring, and he didn't blink for forever. He was just like this, staring at coach, soaking everything in. And I think that's been kind of a telltale sign for him throughout his career. He's always been someone that's been focused. He's always been someone that I don't think you could question his commitment to this team. Also his effort. He was one that was asked to do things many times that kind of really shouldn't, and you've heard me say this year especially, shouldn't be in his wheelhouse. He's a wonderful two-player. Wonderful off the ball player. Is great at getting to the basket. With his size and everything, it's been amazing to see what he can do. Because a little guy getting in there like that, cutting in, and some very athletic things he's done at the basket to try to get it in. Sometimes it looks very scary and out of control, but he has always been a player willing to sacrifice himself and his body in those instances to get in there, and just a great player for IU. And one that was right there on the cusp. He was the first player under Archie that had committed to someone else, stuck it out, and still came and finished those 4 years. And I can't thank him enough for doing that, for sticking with it and trying through, doing what he can for this team, and being a leader that you've slowly seen grown into. A role like that he's slowly grown into that leadership role for the Indiana Hoosiers. And was great on his senior night to cap and get his 1,000 points. I believe it was on a 3-point made shot. Very, very good for him for it to be on that, since that's kind of been his big thing throughout the year. Rolling off some of his career, his season highs. A lot of them he's notching in this year. His highest points he's ever had in a game was 24. It was against Northwestern this year. This past play against them. Most minutes was this year in the overtime against Wisconsin, 49 minutes. Most field goals was this year at 7. Field goal attempts was 13. 3-point field goals made, 5 in one game. That was the Rutgers game of this year. Attempts were 8, and that was last year. Free throws made, 11. Free throws attempted, 12. That's one thing that he's always been solid for. You never get concerned when you had Al go to the line. You knew he was always, or almost always, going to put it in. Not quite as automatic as you would think of Jordy calls or something like that, but definitely up there. Rebounds, 8. Assists, 5. Blocks, 1. He got 1. That's good. Good for him this year. And steals, 3. Again, yeah, he's had other blocks. But great player for the Hoosiers. A great hustle guy. His ceiling wasn't as high as you would think, as you would maybe like or whatever. But he always came and was going to give the effort and everything that he could. And when he's been able to play within himself and within his game, he has been fantastic for the Hoosiers and a great piece in there. So thank you, Al. Good luck wherever the world takes you next. And you'll always be Hoosier to us. You'll always be welcome back. So thanks, man. Moving on back to this game. Michigan is a very good team. They are a Final Four team. They are going to do very well in the tournament this year. So it was scary going into this game. I was thinking that it was going to feel, for most of the game, like the end of the Rutgers game did, where Michigan was just going to carve us up. And it didn't necessarily start that way. The Hoosiers hung in there at the beginning, had some good plays, had some decent defense, and just kind of really struggled to get Trace going. I mean, in the first half, that was really the story. I mean, he was about 1 for 8 in the first half, and kind of reverted back to whenever he's had issues, and I really thought he got over that hump against Rutgers, because the first time we played Rutgers and he went against Johnson, he struggled. That bigger, taller guy, Trace struggles with, because he tries to kind of slightly draw contact and get weird angles and put it up when he goes against a big guy like that. And that's usually when he has bad games. And that was the first Rutgers game. And then the second one, he does really well because he goes at Johnson. And he still kind of goes around and draws the contact too, but he went at him more often. And I feel like we reverted back to kind of that first Rutgers game where he was trying to draw that contact and wasn't being physical and going at Dickinson. And so that gave him problems. That gave him troubles and made him struggle like he did, being, again, 1 for 8 in the first half. And this game as well, I kept a little tally sheet next to me, because one thing that's been very aggravating for me, and I know for a lot of you as well, is the missed bunnies, the missed easy shots, and the missed layups. And yeah, you can find stats online of missed layups and everything, but I wanted to keep count myself, of put my own bias in there, I should say. And yeah, this could be bias and everything, because I'm putting my own judgment onto the type of shot. But I would give a tally, and I was trying to keep track of those missed layups and when they were ones that were open or good looks with minimum contact, ones that, let's be honest, should be made, should go in at a high percentage. And at halftime, and then I also would put a tally when they were good, easy shots, those same parameters, and they made them, layups. And in the first half, we were tied up with those shots being 7 missed and 7 of those made. And we ended the game, according to my tally, 11 missed and 11 made. Now, you kind of look at that and you think, okay, well, that's pretty decent. That's a good 50%, but I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what experts you'd want to say, but I feel like those missed easy shots, those layups, those easy ones to go in, 50% is not a percentage I want for that. 70%, 75%, that feels more realistic. So if we think of 75 more or something, you're thinking at least 5 more of those going in, at least 10 more points. And just take it to the first half. And 7, so let's take half of those, let's say 4. So we're going a little bit heavier on that. So there's 6 points. And adding those 6 points makes halftime score by 3. Difference of 3 points. And then you feel a little more manageable than a 9-point deficit going into half. And there were times in the first half that I felt like IU was still in this. And I feel like if we had Trace just playing a little bit more selfish, playing a little more aggressive and wanting that ball a lot more, and having Armand in there, that it could have been a lot more challenging of a game, or a lot closer, I should say, of a game in the first half. And we had overall possibly a better chance at this game. Second half, I think the defense just fell apart. Guys were late to close out. Guys were late switches were off and weird. We had some possessions that were very good, but other times that we just wouldn't close out on guys. I mean, Franz Wagner had a field day on us, and Livers as well. I mean, they took care. Those staying weak side on us, off the bounce, gave us troubles, and second chance points. I mean, looking at the stats. Sorry, I get lost for words here at some point. But second chance points, they only had 7, but it felt like they had a lot more. Just the loose balls, the rebounds. They finished with 10 more rebounds than we did. Just the effort. I think, I don't know if at that point it reached, like, IU felt like it was unattainable at that point, and so we kind of backed out. But second half, we just trying to chuck up threes to get back into it as well. Ended up 1 for 8. So I mean, first half stats looked okay. 12 for 28 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and but the real disparaging fact in the first half was some odd foul calling. And again, I'm not going to say the refs screwed it for us. We did enough to screw it, I should say. But 18 free throws that they attempted in the first half and us at 9 at half, it just felt very lopsided. They were in the bonus so quickly. Just to be a team that we normally shoot such a higher volume than the other team, and to have it that disparaging of a difference was pretty amazing. It didn't feel consistent. And I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you that if it feels like it's inconsistent towards us, the whole hall of calls, well, it was not the hall of calls yesterday. It tried to even itself out in the second half, but I still think that they got a little bit of an advantage there in the first half. And again, those maybe it did affect the outcome. You make those layups, you get a little bit more of those calls, and you go into half a lot closer. You go into half, maybe even with a lead at that point. I want to say that I felt like it was a decent effort by Jerome Hunter, getting his first start. Playing him at the 3 is an interesting thing to see. Obviously, your biggest concern with him at the 3 is defending, and I think his defense has still gotten better and better. And I would almost argue that he's better on-ball defender than some of our guards right now, because our guards are getting kind of cut up a little bit by the dribble drive of these guys. The on-ball defense has not been the greatest. Christian Lander got a lot more minutes. There's interesting lineups in there where I saw a lot of times Rob and Christian were playing together. And I don't feel like that was taken advantage of well enough. Doing some crazy weaves with them or running plays with 2 ball handlers where they can switch off. It didn't feel like that was utilized in a way it could. And also having Rob, I mean, if we have Rob shooting like Rob could shoot and has shot in the past, him playing off ball could be a very good thing, being a catch and shoot shooter. But with his recent cold snap, that's not going to happen. But it was good to see at least Rob was aggressive when he did have the ball, taking more shots, driving in the lane. So I liked seeing that. Race, again, is another honorable mention in this game. I think he played very physical, did a lot of those intangibles, had the most rebounds, tied with Jerome for the game. Had a block, 2 blocks and a steal. So Race continued to had a good game. One of only 3 players that we had in triple digits. That'd be impressive. Double digits for the game. But again, an outcome that we expected. Nothing out of the ordinary. Felt like it was closer than it could have been, and then it just got away from us in the second half. And such is. Not a horrible loss. Obviously a bad loss because you stack them up. Still keeps us just kind of right on that edge. You could probably see some guys that would have us in the tournament, I should specify, and others that have us in that first 4 out. So 2 more games in the regular season. Michigan State, we play at Michigan State. We had their number at the beginning of the game last time we played them. And if we come off of this one ready to attack and everything, we can win this game. And it's going to be a challenge without having Armand, because we need Armand out there. And Archie says that it seems like he might be out for the rest of the regular season. So we're going to see Jerome in there again. And hopefully Jerome can catch fire. I just want to see guys play within their roles. I believe 100% if I use players play their roles and tighten up the defense, they can win these final 2. I'm going to be confident about that. So at Michigan on Tuesday, it's an 8 o'clock game. Don't know the TV coverage. Looks like it might be Big Ten Network for that. And then the next one, final game of the season, these Hoosiers and Archie has to get. There's already tons of call for his head on Twitter and all social medias. That's not for me to decide. My personal opinion to it, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think with COVID and revenue issues that are going, I know there's plenty of boosters that'll chip in and stuff like that, but I don't the state of the way things are this year for college athletic programs, I don't want them seeing and trying to scrounge up money from boosters or whatever it is to try to pay out a coach's contract and have that hurt in any way any of the other athletics. Indiana's been lucky. Other colleges, smaller colleges, have had to cut a lot of sports because of this year. And I don't want to put that in danger. I'll have plenty of my other theories to why I still slightly think that Archie could get it done at Indiana, but that's like 30, 40 minute show, so I won't go into that. But I do believe 100% just for these players, for the fan base to not go into complete lunacy. If he drops this Michigan State game, he has to get this Purdue game. Because it's going to get ugly. You might see me off Twitter for a while because it's going to get so ugly if he drops both of those. So that'll do it for this edition today. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to this YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out information about the show. I'll be back again Wednesday morning to talk about the Michigan State game. Thank you to Bob Thompson for producing the music you hear on the show. Guys, go out there, have a wonderful day, and go Hoosiers.